So Luke,
Close 2 deals.
he wants to know who you are, what you do here.
So, I'm Luke, the man. What does it say? Master Luke?
Master Luke, that's right.
I basically am in charge of all the leads, manage all the leads that come in, and then I do all the transaction coordination.
One of the main keys to success in life, and especially business, is getting the right people around you. Now, when I started adding people on my team, my real estate business started to go up and up and up. Now, Luke is no exception to that. He's actually one of the first people that I added on my team. He was a new real estate investor, but he was different from most of the new real estate investors. He had that fire, he had that it factor.
This is the to-do list.
He's a follow-up extraordinaire, list
awesome.
maker. I remember he told me that he just quit his job cold turkey. He acted pretty confident at the time. I think I could tell he was a little bit green, but he was definitely one of those guys that stood out. So when he offered to take me to lunch, I took him up on it.
I started getting into real estate. I was doing all the networking stuff. I was calling every bandit sign I'd ever saw, and that's how I met Andy. Anytime I saw a bandit sign, I'd write it down, and I was super organized. I had spreadsheets everywhere, and every day I'd make calls to these people or money lenders or whatever. I was just getting out there. And he didn't answer, but he called me back like 2 days later. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" You know how he is, just super friendly. And we talked for like half an hour to an hour. It was really cool, and it was funny because he's like, "So what do you do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a full-blown real estate investor. I'm flipping houses, wholesaling." He's like, "Really? What's your goals? What are you trying to do?" I'm like, "I'm going to flip 12 houses this year. I'm going to do all this crap." And I was just talking. I thought I was going to, but I didn't end up doing any of that stuff. So I said, "Hey, let me take you to lunch." I was really big on taking people to lunch and just picking people's brains. So we went to lunch. I told him what I was doing, sending mail, and he's like, "Wow, I don't know anybody else who's sending mail." And he was sending mail. He's like, "Oh, really? What list do you mail to? And what list do you mail to? And what are you sending?" And I told him. He's like, "Oh, yeah, this list works a little better and this and that." And he told me everything he did. And then it was crazy because right after I met him, like, my first wholesale deal I did by myself. I found a house to flip, and then he asked me to help him. For some reason at that time in his life, he was like doing everything, but he didn't want to do that anymore. At that same exact time, he had barely just hired a bookkeeper. He had hired his assistant, and then he hired me to help with marketing / taking the phone calls for all the marketing. And it was perfect for me because I was out of money. And but it was weird because like we'd met and talked, and then all of a sudden I got my first wholesale deal. I found a house to flip and started working with him. And it was like, wow.
When I first started working with Luke, I compensated him as a percentage of the net profits. And there was this one deal that we had in Sandy. And I remember going there and negotiating with the seller. And in the shed, the back shed of this seller's property, there was this motorcycle. That was kind of dark and dusty, and I couldn't really see it very well, but he was explaining it to me. It was a custom painted motorcycle.
Andy negotiated this as part of a house that we bought in Sandy. He was sitting in the shed of the seller's house, and Andy said, "I want the bike as part of the house." And then that was my fee as part of the wholesale fee. You mentioned that you hadn't seen the paint job in the shed because it was all dark. You just knew that it had some fancy job. And then I got it and I was like, "Oh, dude, that's kind of cheesy, man." At first it was me taking all the phone calls, so I know what it's like to take 40 phone calls in a day when you drop 10,000 yellow letters, and just tried to do the best I could at filtering people for equity and motivation. And I was open to whatever, really. I mean, I was just thrilled to be making money, to be honest, you know. Yeah, and then it's just kind of blown up from there, man.
So how long ago was that? Like,
When did I start working with Andy?
Like how long have you guys been working?
It was, I think it was like May or June of 2012.
So I'm interested more like in where you are now at this point.
I spend the majority of my time comping houses, writing offers, emailing offers, and doing transaction coordination. Those are the main things I do with Andy, and that takes the majority of my time. Besides that, I've got 2 rentals. One's the first house I bought with me and my wife. It's in Sugar House. It's a killer little bungalow. It's been great, other than we bought it with 100% financing in like 2007. And it was like we paid $210, and now it's worth less than $210, basically. I mean, the next year we lost like 50 grand in equity. But we come out of pocket $150 every month for that. But I've had it as a rental for like 2 or 3 years now. So we've been able to just pay that and keep it because it's a great area, and I know it's going to pay off in the long run as a rental. And then me and Andy partnered on a rental up in Ogden, a duplex that came across from somebody, and we're like, dude, that's a deal. Do you want to go in? I'm like, yeah. And then I've always wanted to flip houses too, so I do that as well. I did the first year I started in 2012. I did one by myself, and then me and Andy partnered on one, and then I found another partner and did another one. So like 2.5 in 2012. 2013 I did 8 or 9. I can't remember how many. I have it written in my computer. I partner with almost all of them because I don't have enough capital still to. So I'm either partner with somebody who has money, or partner with Andy, or partner with hard money lenders, or whatever, you know. So I don't make a bunch on all of them, but it's still extra money for me.
Do you property manage them and stuff too, or do you?
Yeah, I run all the. You mean like the project management? Yeah. That I kind of did. No, I kind of did that when I was working with my dad, because we would do what's called an apartment turnover. So when somebody moves out, you just like paint it, fix things, and do it. So I had a lot of experience. It merely comes natural to me to do that. So that's not really difficult for me. But yeah, I've been doing that on all of them. So I got a little spreadsheet for each one. I got to go buy the materials. I've gotten it down to a better system now, to where I used to like go back and forth to the store, and I was just like, screw this. I'm going to go once when I start. I know I can just make a list, and I've got a couple guys. I switch off every other house usually, and I just get like all the materials and say go, and just it's the same thing every time basically. I mean, I get the same fixtures, the same materials, and they're pretty good at just knowing now. They've each done like however many, 5 or something. And then this year I've done 2. I want to do 20 this year, but I'm still going for it. I got to stay positive. I can't like train my brain to not agree with my goals. You know what I mean?
I came walking into work right here, came walking up, and I was laughing so hard, my stomach hurt, and I was crying.
You hadn't seen the paint job in the shed because it was all dark. You just knew that it had some fancy job. The skulls and the retarded dragon twins. That's the evil twin brother of this dragon. And I think he's controlled by this wizard here. And originally it was named Black Magic, but since been nicknamed Wizards and Dreams.
Wizards and Dreams. I've watched Luke's development since 2012 when we started working together. And he's always been a great guy, but right now what's developed and what's changed most about him is his real estate knowledge. He's been a part of hundreds of transactions since we started working together. His attitude has always remained the same. He's always been a hard worker. He's always been a get-it-done guy. Luke is just phenomenal at what he does.
I've said this before, probably to Andy and maybe a couple other people. And I don't think I'm like super successful, but I think I have had some success in the last couple of years since I like quit my job and started my own business. And I think the only reason I did accomplish a little bit of success was because I was telling myself that I was going to. And because I said that and believed it, like really believed it, it happened. Like if I was like, oh, maybe I'll dip my toe in the water or whatever, like I don't think it would have, you know. That's something that I think about sometimes, and it's like, yeah, I really believe that I could. I just gotta habitually stay positive, you know. That's the thing too, is make it a habit, because if you get out of it, yeah, it's tough. But it's not easy, man. That's the thing. It's like everybody struggles with it. I talk with my mom about that stuff all the time. She gets depressed sometimes. And it's like, and then she's good, and then she's not. And, you know, when you're down and out, you get more down and out. And when you're high and mighty, you get more high and mighty, I guess. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But being around positive people is good. I mean, I'm stoked to be around Andy every day. You know what I mean? Like, dude, it's a super awesome benefit to be working with Andy, man. And like, I'm grateful every day. Like, I have a list on my phone of everything I'm grateful for, and his name is at the top of the list, you know. And I try to look at everything I'm grateful for every day, actually. So, just to remind myself. I got the skull and crossbones to go with the skulls of the bike here.
Nobody's gonna mess with that.
Yeah. And then they meet me and they're like, oh, those are nice.
He's actually a really nice guy. Dang it. We thought he was gonna be a tough guy.
I remember this one time. I have a friend where we were talking about money once, and he would be like, you know what? We're never gonna be millionaires. Like, there's just no way you could ever make $1 million in this world. But like, I didn't really believe him. You know what I mean? But he was like so adamant about it. And he was like, yeah, it's impossible. If you just think about it, calculate it, and blah, 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 blah. And now looking back, what I know now, I mean, it's in his mind, dude. He could make $1 million. I plan on making $1 million, you know? But he never will. Because he believes that, you know what I mean? And I think I will because I believe I will. Or I can, you know? The day I started doing the affirmations, I just like felt better instantly, and I have ever since. And so like I'm just gonna keep doing it. And I actually, like, before, when I do affirmations, I read a book from like Kindle called like I can't remember. I bought a lot of Kindle books that were on like the law of attraction and stuff like that. And I had some affirmations that I was doing, but they were kind of like non-specific. They were like, I'm amazing, I'm wonderful, blah, 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 I'm happy. And I had made a list of like 12 of those, and I would do it in the shower every day. So I've been doing that forever. But I made these ones more specific, and now I stand in front of the mirror, and like, they're on my phone, so I have to like read them. But I do that out loud like 3 times every morning, you know, go through the whole list. And magically, seriously, it's like, I feel like I'm unstoppable. I don't know, it's weird, man. And when I read my dream vision, like, I envision myself doing it and being in that spot, and it's like I feel, not that I'm there, but that's part of my future.